everybody doing? First off, I just want to thank Coach Miller, staff, administration, just for giving me another opportunity. I just want to thank my teammates for sticking by my side. And I had a personal issue that was a private matter to me, and I just want to thank everybody for being supportive. So I'm back.
Open up for questions.
You showed up at the media section like December 1st, and you had a hoodie on. I think everyone was surprised but very happy to see you. Did you think you could be back as quick as you were?
I knew it would be a process, just trusting coach, my teammates, and just going with the flow. But they figured it was best I come, support the team from the stands. So I was with that decision, and I'm glad how it turned out, and glad just to be back on the court.
Coach, you talked about not knowing exactly how this was going to play out. What was the process like from him getting back in town to being back around the team to eventually getting back on the court?
Well, he was never not enrolled, so he was never not a student at Cincinnati. I think a lot of the aspects of the process are personal, as Jizzle mentioned, and it's not necessary to get into them publicly. I think the thing that Jizzle's like family to me, to our staff, our program. He's like the old school way before this whole era of transfer portal. Like he's an old school Bearcat, and whatever Jizzle or the things that Jizzle was dealing with, he made it very clear that he wanted to be a part of this program and this university in this city. And for me, it was always very direct to him that, I never wanted a situation to happen that he couldn't be a Bearcat, that he had some control over that. But I never, so the door was always open if he did the right things, and he did all the right things. And it wasn't easy for him to get back in the position he's in. You got to give him a ton of credit. I've never been more proud of a player than I have of Jizzle, and it has nothing to do with what he's done on the court.
How difficult was it to have something, or just be away from something, or have something taken away that you love, you've done all your life? How tough was that, and how rewarding has it been to come back?
It was very tough to deal with, just being away from the sport I love, away from the city, away from the team, away from my guys. And, I had time to get myself together, and just reflect on everything. And, the reward has been being able to be back in the locker room, being back on the court with the guys. So it's something I, couldn't be more thankful of, and I'm just blessed and honored just to be back in this situation.
What was it like getting on the court for that first game back and kind of getting that first bucket to fall and just being back in the groove that you've been in for so long?
It felt different, but I was excited to see one go in, and just, we got the dub, so that was a great day, but I feel like that game was, just a stepping stone in my life, that, I came back from a lot of adversity and just able to, show people that you can do it, so I'm just blessed.
Coach, I know we won't talk about the specifics, but how proud are you for him to overcome what he's overcome, to see him play this year? I know at the beginning of the year, nobody was thinking Jizzle would be suiting up as a Bearcat, but for him to put in the work and do everything that needed to be done, how proud are you just as a coach and as a human being?
I couldn't be more proud. I don't know if I have the right words, but I couldn't be more proud of a person. It'd have been easier to not come back here and confront things, and he wanted to do that. That's in a time where you don't have to do that. That's so admirable. Again, I couldn't be more. It has nothing to do with basketball. I couldn't be more proud of him.
Physically, are you back to where you would like to be? And obviously your shot's better.
I say I'm getting there. It's still a work in progress. I still feel like, there's many things I can work on in my game. So, I'm just going to continue to keep my head down and just keep working and help the team in whatever way I can contribute.
Do you have a brother here?
Yeah.
How has that helped?
It's been good. It's his first year in college, so, I'm proud of him just to see how far he came in life. And, just to know he has a big brother on campus, and just to know he's always good.
I know it's always a one game at a time thing, but entering a stretch where you've got 3 of the next 4 at home, does it feel like this is an opportunity to maybe get the team kind of on a roll that you've been looking to hit?
Well, the stretch we just came out of was there's challenging stretches in this league. It's the best league in America. I think I saw something. Brett handed me some notes walking down here, and it's not like I didn't know it, but I hadn't looked at it this way. But I think we have 6 teams in the top 16 in America right now in the Big 12. I think 3 of our last 4. Was it 3 of our last 4 or 3 of our last 5?
3 of the last 5 against top 10.
3 of the last 5 games we played against top 10 teams, the polls. And that's what you want to be in that position. That's what the Big 12's about. I think 3 of the last 4 have been on the road. So to get a stretch coming forward where you get to be home a little bit, I think we welcome it from a health and wellness standpoint for sure. We've been battling more than I wanted to battle of that, and that's a little more difficult when you're traveling. So getting home for the next couple games I think is beneficial. But as you said it, we're not looking ahead to the stretch or anything. Every game in this league is really difficult, whether it's a top 10 opponent or not. We respect every opponent, and it's a one game at a time thing. So our goal right now this week is to get back to as much health and wellness as we can. The game at Houston was a strange dynamic, right? It felt like maybe how we felt at times, back in late November, where you're playing lineups you've never practiced with. You're down not just a couple guys, you're down a bunch of guys. We got to get back to being healthy. So that's been the focus this week. And then obviously it's always to prepare for the next game.
Any updates on health of guys?
Buck was down for 7 straight days. Can't get out of bed with the flu. So he was back on the practice court yesterday for the first time in a week. So that's, to me, a really good sign. Mustafa is day-to-day, so we don't really know yet about his status. We have other guys that have been dealing with some flu-type stuff too. It's that time of year. All the travels make that hard. Tyler was good yesterday. I can't. Yeah, Sean's ankle. It's hard to keep up every day, guys. But Sean, we didn't take him on the trip because we just wanted to get the swelling down, and have him on an airplane twice in 24 hours didn't seem intelligent. But he's heading in the right direction. It's a high ankle sprain, so I don't know if he'll be available this week, but hopefully we'll get him back sooner rather than later. Kerr's shoulder. He so far so good this week. He was able to practice yesterday.
Jalen Haynes.
Yeah, Jalen Haynes. Been something, hasn't it? Jalen Haynes is doing non-contact stuff in practice. Yeah.
Given those injuries and setbacks, and it might be more than you've ever had, but what kind of a blessing was it when this guy was able to come on the court and be a part of it?
It's life's interesting. Basketball's a microcosm of life, but at this point, it's hard to imagine him not playing with all the stuff that we've dealt with. I can't imagine him not being here. As you guys mentioned, we didn't necessarily know that he'd be playing a couple months ago, but having Jizzle back has been rewarding. It's been a blessing off the court, and certainly, as we all know, he's very impactful on the court, and we're a better team and program when he's out there.
The home and road splits for some of your offensive players, it seems like there's a decent disparity in scoring. Is that something that is kind of something you expect to see throughout the season, or is there a dynamic that you as a former player would know about, of just like the struggles? do you expect that?
I think we have to start performing on the road as a team. You know, I think we've had some opportunities to close some games out where we did perform and we didn't. We've had some nights we didn't play as well on the road. That's just, or in neutral sites. That's just the truth of it. We got to do it better. I think we're 11-2 at home. You know, we got to continue to improve as a team and play well here in Fifth Third. But when we get a chance to go back on the road next week, you know, we have to do a better job of playing better basketball on the road.
West Virginia's kind of been a puzzle for you here recently, at least. Huff hit, I think, 5 or 6 threes against you. So last game you went 1 out of 13. I don't know that he's going to do that again, but what do you need to do to stop their game? And obviously Eagle staff's not going to throw one over his head and in every time, but they're a unique team.
You know, like all Big 12 teams, they're very good, and there's going to be players that have the opportunity on every game we play in league that can have great nights on any given night. Huff is one of those guys that's already done it multiple times. So I think everybody preparing for West Virginia has to figure out how to do a nice job on him. And then you can't lose sight of some of their other guys, Eagle staff being one of them. But, you know, we'll again, the last couple of days it's been about trying to get healthy and get enough bodies back out there, and not just healthy from injuries, but healthy from illness. The flu kind of went around our team pretty good there. So that's been the focus, and then obviously the focus these next couple of days be preparing for a very good West Virginia team. But to tell you like what the schemes and game plans are, I don't practice that publicly. I would love to tell you. I'll tell you when you turn the phone off and we're sitting outside the hall.
When you went back and watched the film, what did you see specifically with Baba? Was it maybe an off day for him? Was it just something Houston keyed in on and said that we're not going to let him beat us or anything?
You know, I tell you, you can look at like the stat line of shooting and scoring, but he was pretty good there. Like to start the game of getting us quality shots. We didn't make them, you know, but he did a great job to start the game of breaking down their defense and finding guys for like, you know, against Houston's half-court defense, what I would say are like very, very high-quality looks. So he did a good job of facilitating in the game. And even as the game went on, there were some stretches that we were really able to get him behind the defense, and he made some great plays. Houston did in my opinion, a good job of putting 2 and 3 bodies to him when he did catch the ball behind their defense. And more times than not, he made great decisions. As far as his shooting numbers, you know, I think we've seen enough of Bob to know that he's not going to go 1 for 9 every night. That wasn't his best shooting performance from the floor, but he didn't play as bad as the stat line says. That's for sure. And then, you know, having guys that weren't out there, I think was a factor for him as well. Right now, he's probably being asked to do a little bit more. I think Mustafa's injury, you know, affected him a little bit. And Mustafa has the ability to draw some attention in the middle of the floor against Houston, on the baseline against Houston, and him and Baba play really well off of each other. And when you took Mustafa out of that, I thought that put a lot more pressure on Baba and allowed them to pay a little more attention to him on the catch.
Jizzle, Coach mentioned when Kerr was healthy, having you and Day and Kerr out there, that was statistically one of your better combinations. Are you close to getting all that back? And did you like that setup? I don't want to call you guys small because none of you are, but you know, that lineup.
Yeah, definitely. And Kerr's been working his way back, you know, and we know we need him. You know, he's a big part of our team, and you know, I feel like when we're out there together, you know, things are just flowing. He's hitting shots, you know, he's creating for others, and you know, we all create for each other. So you know, getting him back will be a great thing for us, and you know, it's slowly coming. You know, he's dealing with a shoulder injury right now, but he's been playing through it. You know, that just shows toughness and perseverance and the player he is. So just kudos to him. You know, so just thinking through that injury he's dealing with, and you know, just giving his everything on the court.
What's it been like playing with Baba? Seems like he's a really, really rare kind of player who, at his size and stature, can do so many different things like he does.
Yeah, no, it's been fun playing with him. You know, he's a different type of player. You know, he go crazy. He'll get 20 rebounds one night, and like it just be like, wow, it's amazing. So, you know, I'm just blessed to be able to, you know, share the floor with him, and you know, just try to help him, you know, succeed in many ways that he helps us, and we feed off each other. That's one thing I can say. So it's been a blessing just playing with him.
Another question or two.
You were the top scorer last year. Do you feel less pressure with these guys because there's a handful of guys that can put it in the hole?
Yeah, it's more fun when it's like that, you know, and I think it's better when, you know, everybody getting the cream out of the pie, and, you know, it's not just one person. So I think, you know, that we have multiple threats, you know, it just helps us down the line, and, you know, I think that makes us, you know, a threat in the Big 12.
You're not there yet. You're not there yet, but there is a break week coming up here, and you get
When?
2 weeks in. You didn't get them last year, but you get a Saturday to Thursday this week. How big is that?
I thought the Saturday to Thursday this week was a break. You know, we haven't had anything like that in a long time, and it came at a crucial time for us, as I mentioned, with just kind of with the health and some of the injury stuff. We have a week off, you said, coming up?
I think so, don't you?
This is interesting. You know, I knew that, obviously, but we don't look that far ahead as coaches. We say that in press conferences, but we're zeroed in on this week for sure. So, but no, I think in our league, and I think all the coaches in our league agree with this, with the competitive nature of the league every single night, and then you add the travel dynamic of this league, having that built-in bye week is like paramount. And I think all the coaches in the spring meetings since I've been a part of the league have echoed that in their own way. And so I think everybody in our league supports that for sure. It's important, not just for us, for everybody.
Is home court in this league bigger than any other league, or I don't know? It's always a big deal, but it seems like if you get a road win in this league, man, it's jump on the bus and run.
I just think it's the best league in basketball. I mean, again, you can look at it analytically. You'll find out it's the best league. You can look at it, you know, level of play. You can look at it players. It's the best league in basketball over a long period of time now. I know the SEC had that banner non-conference last year, which led to them getting, you know, all those teams in the tournament. But if you look at this, we're back to where we're supposed to be this year as a league. If you look at it over any 5-10 year window, it's unequivocally the best league. And when you're in a league like that, every single night is hard, home or road, and every game has crazy value and importance. And if you're a competitor, that's a dream. Like, it's a lot of fun. It's a challenge, but it's a heck of a lot of fun. It's a great opportunity every night.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.